All right. Um, I'm going to share that link one more time in the chat, but I'll do it after Amy gets started. We are excited to have Amy with us. Those of you that are been around to the fair forever and ever and ever, Amy is our new Natina. So welcome, Amy. We're glad to have you. And those of you that are new, Amy represents CUSEF, which is our sponsoring fair. So she is here. She's going to do a training on conducting school fairs and what is required for CUSEF. And then we will jump in after that and talk about our fair, specifically committee assignments. And we only have we only really have one other meeting because we do have this down. And so what date that will be, and we'll jump into that after. But let's go ahead. I want to honor everyone's time and let's go ahead and start. So Amy, if you don't mind, I'm going to let you share your screen. And then you can go ahead and jump straight to the presentation.
All right, let's go for it.
Yeah, thanks.
So if you knew Natina, she did a wonderful job taking over the fair. And now I get to come in and take it over. I've worked with Natina for many, many years. So this has really been quite a lot of fun. So yeah, Central Utah Student Fair, there are some committee members here that we have who work with various things. So if you have like specific questions for any of those, these are the guys that help us out with everything. I have a little sign in here as well, which if you don't mind copying there, Julie, and putting in the chat for me, I would just appreciate, yeah, I'd appreciate for my own information, just kind of seeing what sort of audience we have. Do we have a lot of veteran teachers here? Do we have new teachers? That's just kind of what I'm looking for under that lovely little welcome there. So let's talk CUSEF. The website is that cusef.bui.edu. We are going to share this. We'll share this doc with everyone so you can have all the links in here. I just want to make sure if I skip over here, does my screen change to the CUSEF website?
Yeah.
Is it that correctly? Yes, very good. Okay, this is our Central Utah STEM Fair website. A lot of the things that you need will be found on this website. So this is where you can link to the forms, the resource center. You can see the schedule for the fair. A lot of the questions can be answered directly on this website. So if you ever have questions, that is a place where you are welcome to start.
Amy?
Yes.
We need permission to access your form.
Oh, good to know.
Oh, I changed that earlier, but I will change it again. Okay, I'll do it in a minute. We'll go back to that.
It's under settings. You set if it can be respondents from your thing. That one right there.
There you go.
There you go.
I knew it was somewhere close. Thank you. All right. Is that better?
Perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. First thing we're going to talk about here are forms. If I am on Central Utah STEM Fair's website, forms is right here on the left-hand side. When I click on it, we already have the forms available for 2025. If you are in charge of 5th or 6th graders, the form that you need will be the 5th and 6th grade form. And everything that you need will already be on these two papers. So everything will be fine if you have this all filled out. The only exception that might happen is if you have a student who needs a BSL-1 laboratory. On occasion, depending on how epic that project is and what they decide to grow, because usually they're growing some sort of mold, you might need another form either from the school that says the student is allowed to use my high school space, is allowed to grow this mold, and also so they understand the safety behind what they're actually doing. So that's the only thing that might be a little different, but for the most part, your 5th and 6th grade will only need this form. Go back. It's kind of the same for junior division. Again, they just need these forms. With every single project, it is going to ask you these various questions. Did they use human test subjects? Did they use vertebrate animals? Have I used bacteria, mold? Did I use prescription, over-the-counter drugs, alcohol? And you notice under each of those, there will be a signature that's required to be filled out. So if they need a medical doctor, if they need to have a veterinarian, they need a biomedical, all those can be filled out by that specialist. Let's say maybe you don't have a specialist. You have no idea where to get a hold of a biomedical. You can contact me. I have them available for you. They can look over the paperwork, see what projects the students are working on, and we can definitely make sure that they're safe and have the required signatures that they need. Last one, senior division.
Can I ask a quick question while it's loading?
Go for it.
When you say contact you, do you want us to contact you, or would we just pass the email on for QCEF to the students, say, where they would reach out saying, I need to talk to a biomedical or biological scientist?
I like to have the student contact me. I think it's better for them to kind of get that experience. But if the student, for whatever reason, is not comfortable with it, or if you're not comfortable with it, you're welcome to do it as well. So I'll take either, but I do like the students kind of to take the initiative and say, hey, I need, you know, XYZ.
Okay.
Help you out. Right, senior division projects. This is the senior division project form for our 9th through 12th grades. Again, it's going to ask you those same types of questions. Did they use human test subjects? But it's going to get a little more detailed from here on out. You'll notice on a lot of these things, like for example, vertebrate animals right here, it says, if I were to click on this one, it says project form 5A is required. So where would I find 5A? We have another link on here to the ICEF forms. So these are the international rules. If I scroll down, I can find that form 5A right there. I would click on it, also give that to the student to fill out. So for high schools, they do need a lot more paperwork. Now, if you have a question, if you're filling this out and you're like, I'm not sure if it fulfills that, I'm not sure if they need form 6B or whatever it is, there is a wizard that ICEF provides that will ask you more detailed questions. It will go through several pages and it will ask you, okay, did you use human tissue? What type of human tissue? Where did you get it? Where did it come from? Are you working in a lab? It will ask you all of those questions and it will tell you exactly what you need. So if you fill this out, it just very clearly tells you these are the exact forms your student needs. So again, on this paper, I have the links to the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th forms. And then for secondary, here's the QCEF forms for 9th through 12th grade. This is where you'd get those extra ICEF forms if needed. And then here's the rules wizard. Again, if you need it, it's all in there. If you have specific questions, again, you can reach out to me. It's perfectly fine. For example, I had a student last year who wanted to do an experiment using gasoline and fire. Was it able to be approved? Actually, yes, because they were able to follow all of their paperwork and come up with a valid experiment. So, yeah. So if they have their forms, they can probably do it. So real quick, because I like this to be a little bit interactive, in the chat, just pop in there. Why are forms important? Why are they important for you to have in your school? And obviously, I put a couple there. For safety, number one, you want to make sure you're safe, your student's safe, your school's covered. Those are definitely important things that you want in there. I love that. Cover your butt. Yep, definitely. You have to cover your butt. Whoop, love it. Liability, love that answer in there. There's an ethical thing there, like making sure you're being ethical with all of your science and engineering. I like that. So I know what's going on with their project. Yep, definitely want to be informed. So nobody's x-raying their neighborhood in the garage. Oh, that one's beautiful. Beautiful. Love it. Another reason why forms might be important, if winning an eventual Nobel Prize in science, you might think like, oh, that's not possible. No, it's actually happened. We've actually had students who eventually, after doing a science fair project, have gone on to win Nobel Prizes. So that's pretty cool. Love that. So parents know what they're doing. Yep. We just want everyone to be informed. We really want to make sure that they're informed. We know what they're working on. We know what they're doing. We know they're being safe. Yep. Love it. Right. So how do I get started? Every single school starts a little differently. Some have a STEM fair kickoff. Some of them have students do a little experiment in the classroom. Sometimes there's a coordinator that walks around and talks to all of the classes. There's posters that are put up. Teachers can introduce it. So I want you to think about STEM fair in your schools. Maybe think about, how is it introduced to the students? Is it required? Anyone here, is it required for your school that they're participating? Julia, I've seen a few hands there. Yep, few hands required, is required. I absolutely love the ones that are required. The first year I did it, it was required, and I absolutely loved it. And that's what got me involved with it for the rest of my life. 7th acres not lunch. Ooh, I like that, Lyndon. One of the things I do when I go into a classroom and I'm introducing this idea of STEM fair for the first time is I give them a little paper that has 3 columns on it, or I have the students fold it into 3 columns. And in the very first one, I ask, what do you love to do? What do you absolutely love to do? So again, here in the chat, think about it. What's something you love to do? What is the thing you are going to do, even if nobody wants you to do it, nobody pays you to do it, like you're going to be there, you're going to do it regardless? What's that thing you absolutely love to do? Write down some of what you're writing. Making fireworks, big, go fast, sleep. Oh, I love fishing too. Fishing is awesome. Read books. Go, let's. I'm putting a lot in there. Awesome. So what I do is I ask students for a list just like this. What do you love doing? What do you really enjoy doing? And then I ask them, are there any things that make what you love kind of hard or difficult? For example, I had a student who said, I love to play football, but every single time I kick the ball with my left foot, it doesn't work. Like I can't get it correctly. Don't know why I was doing it with the left foot, but okay. I have students who would say, I love to bake, but every time I use the almond flour, my cookies are flat. So that's the type of things we're asking. What makes it difficult? So I want you to think about what you love doing. And I want you to think, are there things that make it difficult? Are there things that are in the way? Are there things you struggle with? Think about that for a second. What are your struggles? You said safety. I had to look what you were connected to there, Tracy, because I was wondering if you had safety concerns with reading a book or safety concerns with plants, which would be fine if you did. I'm going to put this in here. Where do you struggle? Awesome, I like that. Okay, these are all things that we have like little struggles. You can think of a struggle. From the struggles is where we are going to come up with a question for the students to answer. This will be the very beginning of their project. I hear very often teachers telling their students, start with a hypothesis, come up with a hypothesis. Well, until we have a good question to really dive into and kind of test out and start to study, we really can't dive into a hypothesis, not yet anyway. The first thing we do is we have some sort of question, some sort of idea in mind. And so in order to figure out for a science fair project, the first place I have the students go to is a question. So think about what you love, think about the struggle you just gave us, and now come up with a question. What's something that you could test, study, research, figure out? Think about a question that goes with that struggle. I'll give an example here. If while I bake, I am struggling with burning the cookies, my type of question could be, what cooking method will burn the cookies less? Or is there a way to change my cooking method for my cookies? You could make it an engineering project. Can I design a better oven for my cookies? You can turn it into a chemistry project. Can I design a non-bake cookie that doesn't require heat? These are all different questions. It's like Tracy got one. Okay, awesome. From what we just did, this can lead students to a project. Now we've kind of set up our students to say, okay, here's what I really love doing. Now here's something I can start testing. I can start helping out the world in some way. From here, we like to do a lot of research. We like to have the students delve into it. Because this is very student-oriented, we do want them to focus on what they are interested in, but we do want some guidance here. We do want to help them out. That's why we have the forms for safety. That's why we help them out. But how do students do a STEM fair? Okay, so every single project has basic requirements. On the CUSEF website, you have a link to the toolbox. If you're not sure where to start, there are different elements for like a successful project, projects to avoid, like extremely common ones. One of the reasons why I have that little trifold where it says like, what do you love? Is so your students have a couple of different ideas. We don't want them to only write one thing and then stop. Give us a couple, give us 2 or 3 or maybe 4. That way, when they're narrowing it down, you can kind of give them some guidance there and say, you know what? This project is one that's super common. Let's maybe work on one that's a little less common. We'll kind of help them out. Again, back to the toolbox. There's picking a project that you'll enjoy, choosing the best project for me. All of this is here to help out for a teacher. There's another thing on here I would like to share with you. I'm calling it the Resources Hub. So on Gmail, I've created this folder. These are primarily teacher-faced materials to kind of help you out if you would like to use them. They include judging rubrics for the main engineering fair, a science fair, or a computer science fair. It gives guidelines for judges for all 3 of those different categories. You have an engineering fair for students, student-faced material for science fair or computer science fair. And you have other things to help you out. If you are teaching elementary, there's an elementary notebook. Again, these are all guidelines. You don't have to use any of them. If you have some of your own materials already made, that's fine. But every single project should, at a minimum, have some like basic outlines. So if I am looking at a project, for example, if I go here to like science fair, for example, I know that in a science fair, I'm going to have a journal. Everybody should have a journal. That's the Picking the Talk page. I'm going to have a question. I will have a hypothesis. I will have research. I'll have materials, procedures that I do. I'll make a data table. There's a blank one. There's suggestions on there of where to make a graph. That's a really good one, especially for younger kids. Excel is better for our high school students. But this is kind of like a blank template to kind of help them see everything that they need for that STEM fair. Are there any questions about the different individual parts of STEM fair? You'll have access to it as soon as we share this document with you, Katie.
Yeah, I was gonna say Amy will give me access to the document and I can share it out with everybody.
And if you need any resources from the website in a more friendly printable style, I mean, a lot of these, when you open them up, they will be a PDF that you can print. But if you're missing one or need one that's more exacting, let me know and I'll make sure to get you the PDF, or I'll put it in the resource hub for you. There are other kind of fun things in here. These are little STEM fair buttons. If your school has a little button maker, you can print that and that will make about a little inch button. Students love those all the time. Do those out. So there's some fun things in there, just things for you to explore and help you out with your fair. Any other questions about that for now? Yeah, I'll keep moving forward. I love this comic that's here. Scientist versus normal person, normal person. I shouldn't do that, a scientist. I wonder if that happens every time. One of the things we really love to push with science fair or engineering fair is repeat the experiment. I don't like it when I see a student says, oh, I did it once, only once. A good rule of thumb for any project is to try it at least 15 times if you can. If you can repeat the experiment 15 times over, that's great, especially for a science fair project. That means if I'm testing baking, I'm going to bake 15 different cookies and test them. That means if I'm working with fireworks, I'm going to test 15 different fireworks. Now, if I'm doing an engineering fair, it will be a little bit different. I am going to build my project. I'm going to test it. It doesn't work out. I'm going to refine it, test it again, and then refine it a third time for engineering projects. Computer science projects are similar. You're going to want to refine them at least twice. They might write their code, see if it works. They improve their code, see if it works, improve their code a third time. So that's just a good rule of thumb. Students who engage in science, they're more likely to be curious. They're going to ask questions. A lot of students, especially our elementary students, their insight into the world is a lot easier when they're introduced to scientific instead of fantasy. So like the stories about elves and fairies, they're wonderful. But if you introduce them to a story about how this earth was made or the stars, sometimes you can get a lot more fascination and a lot more curiosity from those students. Let's talk about mentors. I've heard often teachers saying, you have to do the project all by yourself. Our viewpoint is actually to have mentors. We love mentors. Mentors for projects, adults to interview, experts to study, posters to be made. Yeah, say yes to mentors for your students. Now, mentoring should be under the guidance of the student. What does that mean? Okay, so the student is the one who poses the questions, and it's the adult who says, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? It's the adult giving that guidance for more information, but it should be guided by the student. The student should guide the conversation. And when doing an experiment, the student should also be directing the adult. Let's say they are working with fireworks, but the student mentors decided, you know what, it's too dangerous for my student to light that firework, or it's too dangerous for them to have those chemicals. They can still do the experiment as long as the student will say to the adult, now I want you to do this, and the adult can help them. Now I want you to do this. So it's not the adult doing it for them. It is the student doing it. This is what I like to remember. Evil scientists work solo. Real scientists work with a team. Your student should have a team, a supportive team to help them out. There are scoring rubrics for STEM Fair. We have them for science, engineering, and computer projects. These ones do not give very much detail. It's pretty simple. These are the scoring rubrics used by our QCEF judges. Our QCEF judges come in, they get trained. This is the paperwork that they take. If you look at the hub, you can actually find some more detailed instructions. Like there's even a super detailed instruction for judging if you want it. But I would not suggest you use that necessarily. It's just kind of for your own benefit if you want to see a good breakdown of what this means and a good breakdown of the scores. There's additional resources links that will be here. Science Buddies, I see it used a lot, and it's good for an initial idea, but I would not have the students follow exactly what's there. At QCEF, we actually take pictures of the poster boards and we'll actually send it to the internet. And we'll say, like, is this straight from Science Buddies or is it from somewhere else? It's another good reason why we have students kind of come up with what they love first. And then, like, JR, you have on here, like, projects to avoid is a great beginning document. I bet 80% of projects are on that list. It's true. There's a lot of projects that we see time and time and time again. If you send your students straight to Science Buddies, you will make that problem worse. If you start the students out telling you what they really love doing, it will make the problem better. Now, presentations. They're meant to be a conversation between the judges and the student. What we really want to find is the student's intelligence. We want to know how they thought about the problem. The majority of our judges have seen the poster boards before the students arrive. Then they come, they walk around, and they're there to really ask questions. But presentations are a real important part. They are a part that can basically change your life. One of these things I love to show this comic right here. This is from Far Side. Gary Larson, as a joke, put in here, this is the end of the dinosaur's tale called a Thagomizer in, honor of the late Thag Simmons. He presented this as a comic, thinking it was super funny, and scientists actually accepted it as the true name. So now that is actually the name of the spike on the end of a dinosaur's tail. It actually is called a Thagomizer. Our students might come up with crazy ideas. They might present it, but you never know when it might actually be accepted by the scientific community and then used for the entire world. These are samples again of how poster boards should be put together. I don't want to see every poster coming and looking like this. But what you should know when you're teaching a student to make a poster board is to have them tell a story. And which direction do we read? Well, we read from left to right. That's the direction that we read. So it should make sense to kind of read it from left to right for your project. That will make more sense when the students are sharing their projects. It will make more sense for understanding what they did. I've seen projects before where the conclusion's at the very start and the hypothesis is way over here and the research is somewhere in the middle, and it doesn't make sense, and it's hard for the students to make sense of their project. Again, those are just ideas, but you don't have to follow any of that. So how many of you are holding a school level fair at your school? Yes. When else I'm seeing a few more hands there. They are. Nice. If you're holding a student fair, I suggest you have the students set up their projects in an open area at your school, the library, an open gym. Assign a project number. If you have enough students, you can sort them by categories. That's entirely up to you. Get judges. A good rule of thumb is about 1 to 3 ratio. I really like that ratio. 1 judge for every 3 students. If you can't get that many, you can do like a 1 to 5. I've seen a 1 to 7 as well. It does get harder on the judges to do that. Have your judges listen to projects. They ask questions and score. Each project, if you can, should be scored a minimum of 3 times. So as the teachers are going along, and again, in the hub, there is a judging sheet right here. You could actually print this and have it available to your judges if you'd like. Another thing that you can do is if you have an online, like the STEM Fair judging platform or ZFairs, with a lot of electronic judging, that will help out. Putting it into an Excel spreadsheet helps as well. But have your students go around, have your judges go around rather, score each project minimum of 3 times if possible. Pull those together to figure out what your top 20% is or the winners for your school. Few things that I really like to do. When the judges are going around and scoring, something I've discovered really helps is if you have some sort of sticker, some sort of long sticker. When a judge has finished scoring that project, they can place the sticker on the top of the board so you can see it hanging off the very top of the board. That helps the judges know, oh, this project's already been scored once. It's already been scored twice. Another way to do that, the way we do it at CUSEF, is we have a paper on the desk and the judges sign their initials on it, kind of say, this project has already been scored one time. That's another thing that helps with the fair. Are there any suggestions that anyone else would like to put in the chat that you have found has been a really good idea for helping with a school level fair?
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
Great. It is my understanding that students have to have some kind of qualifier to move on to our fair and then to move on to CUSEF. So if it's not a school level fair, can it be graded by the teacher? What do you suggest?
It can be graded by the teacher. That's fine. I do say if the teachers are going through and having to decide who moves on to the qualifying fair for charter district fair, right? Have a second teacher come in and just say, yeah, looks good. Just have a second opinion. Projects, oftentimes you'll get them all scored and you'll have your top projects, but there will be one project that just has a really unique idea that maybe needs just a little more time to figure it out. In some cases, I would actually choose as a teacher to pass that project on as well. I would actually say, okay, I'm going to give you, like, your points of creativity are way out the park. It has a really good project. I think you need to work with your mentor and focus on da da da. But yeah, get a second teacher to kind of help you out a little bit. But you do have to have a qualifier at the school level to go to charter district. And then charter district has qualifiers to make it to CUSEF. And then again, at CUSEF, I even have qualifiers in order to advance students to the next thing even above CUSEF. So how many students move on from school level? That is individual to each school.
Yeah, so we will actually get our numbers from Amy of how many we can send on for the whole charter, and then we kind of go do the backwards math from there. So Tracy, we'll get that number to you once I get our number from Amy. Okay?
Just going to put these other samples people have in there. A few things I really like to do at school level fairs. I like to have the other grades come in and see it. I like to have them do that before the judges come in. It kind of releases the tension, allows students to kind of have an icebreaker. When I held school level fairs in just my classroom, I would split up the class in half, and the first half would present day one, and the rest of the students would walk around and hear from them. And then day two, the other half would present projects, and the other half of students would walk around. So that's what I did in my personal science classroom. I had days when I would set up in my classroom, and then I'd pull another science teacher, have them walk their students through, and then I would take my students through their classroom. Just however it works for your school. If you need more specific help with school level fairs, again, feel free to reach out to me. I am happy to come and help out and happy to sit with you and figure out, because I know it can be kind of be a lot when the students first come in, but it doesn't have to be a lot. You can run it quite smoothly. Okay. So students who move on, so students who have qualifiers at the charter district fair will have an opportunity to come to QCEF. That's with me at BYU. I know that Julie has the schedule on her other paper that she was sharing with you. If you need to see that schedule, it's on our website. You can find it right there. There's that schedule for charter schools, junior, senior division. There's the schedule for you. Students at QCEF who qualify, so these are the top 10%, or in some cases, the top 20% of students, have the opportunity to do the Thermo Fisher Innovators Challenge. That's going to be for students in 6th grade up through 8th grade. Students who are in the senior division have an opportunity to compete for the Regeneron ICEF. Now, Regeneron ICEF, there are only 4 projects that can make it from all of QCEF. Those top 4 students who move to ICEF, they are invited to travel to their international event. It's always held stateside. This coming year, it will be in Columbus, Ohio. But they get to meet students from all around the world. The students from all around the world come together at ICEF and compete and show off their projects. For students who are in Thermo Fisher, they submit a written paper that details their project. They will hear back the results from that project in mid-September to October. So students last year who competed in that, I haven't heard back from them yet. But this year we had about 92% of our students who made it to Thermo Fisher submitted their projects and were accepted by Thermo Fisher, and that's absolutely incredible. There are a ton of prizes involved with this. Last year at QCEF, we personally gave away $15,000. We had prizes that totaled closer to $50,000 to give out to our students. Our ICEF students, to travel that event, it was about $10,000 per student for them to go out there and to participate in all their various activities. They can be really fun for all of your kids. So charter school registration, I put in there, that's Julie. And then there's a JOT form on there, which I'm sure Julie can explain. It's not available yet. I don't have it open for you yet, but as soon as Julie says time to open it, I will definitely do that for you. So are there any questions specifically about QCEF, setting a fair, ways that I can support you, help you?
Well, Amy is always available. And if you forget how to get Amy, you can email me and I'll get you to Amy. But I will have Amy's contact info on the copy of the agenda, and we will also send out this presentation. So you have access to that as well as a viewer, but you can click on those links and get into all of those resources. So thank you, Amy. We really, really, really appreciate you. You're welcome to hang out, or you can go, but we're just going to now talk about our fair. So.
Awesome. Have fun.
Yay. All right.
I'll stick around just in the background over here.
That sounds great. Thanks, Amy.
Thank
Okay, I am going to go ahead and share that document again. Well, maybe. Hold on, guys. Let me go. Okay, let me try one more time. Sharing on Zoom, sometimes it doesn't like it, you know. All right. So, Amy went over all of this. I will share this with you as well, all of you, but this is information provided right on her website, right on QCEF's website. So it talks about the different divisions that are available for each grade level. It has those links to the forms, which she also has, my phone number, okay? But we now are going to talk about our fair. So to qualify or to participate, for a charter school to participate in our fair, we have only a few requirements. It's pretty easy, but one of those requirements is being a committee, on a committee. We cannot run our fair without everyone being on the committee. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share this link with you guys. And I need you, I left up last year's and you guys all have to be nice and just, I'm only going to make you commenters, okay? There's a reason for this, is because if you want to change what you were, I just need you, hold on, I gotta now go to the chat. I just need you guys to say, hey, I'd like to change. And everyone in the meeting, there we go. And then we can kind of talk about that. So everyone that had, I literally just copy and pasted from last year. That's all I did. I made a copy. John Hancock, we will continue with the same thing. We'll do the judging, scheduling, and the dinner vendors. So that is non-negotiable, but everything else is somewhat negotiable. If you don't understand one of the committee assignments, pop on, ask questions. Other schools that have had that committee before can kind of step in and say what they've done there. If you're new to the fair, it's not that hard. You have to have somebody there at a January meeting, and you have to be there the night of the fair to help with your committee assignment. That's it. It doesn't have to be you. It can be parent volunteers. It can be another teacher from your school. It can be other, it does not have to be you. So we just need your school to help participate. So anybody want to switch jobs? Anybody not on here already that's like, hey, our school's participating, we want to be there, let's get you an assignment. So go ahead and unmute and ask questions. We're going to just spend a minute on this. Nobody? Oh wait, there's a chat, hold on. Okay, Freedom's good. Okay, thank you, Kevin. Okay, thank you, Misty. Okay, North Star's good, Reagan's good. You guys are making me happy. Make me smile. We got this down to a well-oiled machine. APA is good, great. Okay, Early Light, you're still good working with BYU. Thank you. Appreciate that. Anybody on here for the first time and you're just going, I don't know what I'm doing. It's okay. You can say that. Okay, Tracy, or which school are you with? Providence Hall. Okay, and you've never done this before. I'm trying to see if Providence Hall even had an assignment last year. I don't think you guys participated last year. So I'll tell you some of the easy ones. Is somebody from Lincoln on here? I didn't look at my roster yet. I just want to make sure they're going to keep the project numbers. Providence waiting activities is always something that could be helpful. Ushers and runners, that's just having volunteers there to help parents find the right place, kids find the right place, find the bathrooms, that kind of stuff. Those are both pretty good ones to help out. Registration, we may need another school, but I doubt it. I think we'll be good there. So Tracy, do you feel more comfortable helping out with waiting activities or maybe providing ushers and runners?
Both of those sound good. I would like to talk to my coworkers to see
Okay.
what they're interested in. When do I
Okay.
need to let you know?
You have editing rights on this doc, so, and I'll give you the direct link to it in the agenda that I'll be sending out to everyone. So just fill it out after you talk to them. Okay?
Sure.
Perfect. All right. Okay. Everybody else, I'm feeling pretty good about the fact that you know what you're doing. Okay. I am going to switch screens. Okay. Did it switch or do I need to stop sharing and share? It
It's good.
switched? Oh, good. Okay. All right. We're going to go here. Same thing, everybody. This is the exact same times as last year. So if you need to, I think you have editing rights on this one. This one's not, oh, it is commenter. But if you need to change, let me know. I'm gonna put it in the chat now. Hold on, back down, come on. And I just need you, chat, there you go. I just need you to, let me know if you need to change anything. There we go. So this is basically when your students will come and check in. So this is the registration times. We do stagger it throughout the night just because we don't want all 300 students showing up at the exact same time. So we do stagger it throughout the night. We start judging at 5:30. Right? Isn't it 5:30?
I think so.
I think so too. So
Last year, we had a few kids still registering when the judging started.
yeah, and that was a problem.
So when we add Providence Hall in, we might want to toss them up like the 4:15-ish time.
That's a really good point. So Providence, keep that in mind. We'll probably want you a little bit earlier if possible, just because we did still have students checking in and it did cause problems.
That's
'Cause
fine
some
with
of
me.
them- Perfect. I'm just gonna put you in.
Are we having it at,
Freedom Prep. Yay. Thank you,
okay,
Kevin.
yeah, same place, right?
Same
Um,
place.
What time are they out on Wednesdays?
We go in and we start setting up at about 2 o'clock, but I don't think they get out of school until 3. What time is it, Kevin?
We end our classes at 2:40.
Okay. I was just gonna say, because I know like American Prep, we're out at 2:10 on Wednesdays, and so if we needed to come like at 3 or even 3:30, like if that would help with flow of traffic, we could come, a little bit earlier, like where we're adding Providence Hall.
I appreciate that. I think the problem is that I can't even get the tables set up that quick. Even
Okay.
though we're hiring people to come in and they set it up and everything. I don't think last year, how long did he take to set up, you guys? Could we start?
Well,
Yep.
he was still setting up tables when we got there at like 3:30.
Yeah,
And
that's why I think 4 o'clock. Yeah.
okay. Well, it's an
Fortunately, I
option
think
if
4.
if you decide it's an option. APA is happy to come earlier than 4.
Okay. Well,
So
let's leave you at 4 right now, and I'll talk to Kevin a little bit more because I know we were
Sure.
trying to avoid their carpool, their pickup.
right. No, I
Yeah.
totally get that. Also I was just gonna ask, sorry, with
Oh, go.
registration, is there, and I don't know if this was like a fluke for last year, but with the registration cards, like I know that they weren't ready until like right before that night. Will you need help getting those ready like before that night? So that way, because
I cannot get them ready before that night because you guys never give me the names in time. I don't know what to say.
okay,
If you guys all really kept your deadline, I could do that.
okay,
So, I mean, if we could commit and maybe let's talk about that. Let's go back to this because seriously, this is the number one hang up. And I did kind of put it a little bit sooner this year. I said that qualifying students have to register with QCEF by January 22nd. If we make that a drop dead date, Amy can review those and then let me know when she's done reviewing them because she'll disqualify anyone. She reviews them and then just disqualifies or calls and asks questions, get clarifying answers from the teacher or the parents even sometimes. And then I get that from her, then we can run that judging program. The other problem is I don't get the judge information. And if I don't get the judge information, I can't run the judging program either. So I have to get all the students registered and I have to have all your judges by January 22nd, or that doesn't give us enough time to flesh out the mistakes to make sure we can run it beforehand. So we were printing those right as we left last year because there were mistakes right up to the very end. So
Julie, are we assigning judges this year?
So we did assign judges this year, didn't we?
Last year, we kind of did a free for all where the judges just kind of wandered and got kids. We kind of set kids at different times.
We did that the previous year when there was
Yeah.
the snow day.
Yeah, we didn't do that last year.
Yeah,
Okay.
that wasn't last year.
Yeah,
Mixing up. Too many fairs, too many
I
fairs.
know, 20 years worth of fairs. I hear you. The
Okay.
reason we pre-assign is just so that a student's not being judged by another parent or another volunteer or another teacher of their own school. That's the only reason we do that. Just throwing that out there. Because if a parent volunteer technically might, I mean, they could, maybe we just do it. I don't know. It's just to prevent that. That's why we assign it. I'm open to ideas. Oh, okay. All right. So that January 22nd is a hard deadline. That means you have to hold your fair before that January 22nd deadline. Is that something you can all commit to? Because last year we had people holding their fairs after the deadline, which causes problems.
No, I just remember like parents coming in as I was trying to help run the registration and like we were still trying to tear those apart. And so I can only imagine on your end as you're trying to like print those off day of,
Yes.
like that was crazy. So I had no idea that that's what it was though. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's what happens. I mean, if we get that done, I mean, and we all commit and we're like, we're just gonna commit. And if a child's not registered, they're not registered, they don't participate, and you hold your fairs in time, then we can print them beforehand. We can get them to the registration people, they can come pick it up and then have it ready. So that is definitely something that would help.
yeah, for sure.
We just all have to commit. And I'm all for that.
Make your life easier.
It would make my life easier. I love that. Landon, are you really October 15th for your fair?
I've done it that way the last 7 years. We get it done
Oh,
before fall
gosh.
break. We don't conflict with any holidays,
I
and
That's
then
love
we
that.
all run away screaming for a break.
I love that. Okay, January 10th. Okay. So if we can all make a hard commitment there, I can contact the registration people and you guys can pick them up from us, beforehand. So we can definitely do that and make that flow a little bit better. I love it. But I have to get those judges too. It's twofold. Twofold.
Julie, I have a question about judges, and I'm afraid of the answer.
Oh no, let's hear.
With that stupid legislation about every single parent volunteer to interact with kids needing to be background checked,
Oh, yeah.
how does that affect us? Because it's supposed to be by LEA, right?
So, oh gosh,
But isn't that only if they're going to be like alone?
101, right?
Yeah, one-on-one, like field trip-ish in the bathroom.
Right. See, it with the great big, and we're all there in there. Like we're in that room with them. So it's
Yeah.
not like they're ever, I think we're gonna be okay. I mean, until we get our hands slapped. I am always the rule pusher. I'm so bad. That's why charter schools exist, by the way, just because I'm the rule pusher. I
No,
push.
I think you're right though. I think it's like more like one-on-one, like I think where there's so many adults in there that have been background checked and thing like that, I think you're okay.
Yeah, and because there are school employees, right?
Yes.
We are in the room. We're not
Yes.
leaving these parents in there alone with these kids. We're there. So
Right.
I think that's the difference. So,
It's a good question though.
I'm
Yep.
happy not to have to get everyone background checked at Freedom Academy to be there, so
nope,
I was worried.
nope, I agree. I think we're gonna be okay. So a couple things, and I will share this with you. I do need your estimation. Sorry, my Grammarly thinks that's not good grammar. I do need you guys to fill this out by December 15th. You have access to do this. I just need to know the number of students at your school fair, the number of projects, which is different Okay, it could be the same if you require every single student to do their own project, but if you have partners working together, your projects and students will be two different numbers. I need to know both. Middle school, the same thing, and high school, the same thing. Okay, if your school's not listed, we'll just put Providence right now. If your school's not listed, just add yourself. Okay. All right, back to this. Last year there was some confusion, and I apologize on the invoices. I have a new person that's helping with that. Her name is Misty. Misty Dippo will be collecting all of those requests for invoices, and she will be sending those out. Just CC me so she and I can go through the list and make sure we're good. But there is a change there. It's not going to Craig Frank anymore. It is going to Misty. So I apologize for problems last year with that. And then January 14th is my proposed day to Freedom Prep for us to come have our meeting. Hey, Kevin, I reached out today to, oh, I can't remember her name, and asked if that day would work. Does that day work for you if I can get her to approve it?
I don't know any reason why it wouldn't work for me. That's January 14th.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that should work.
Okay, if for any reason I hear back that that does not work, I'll let everyone know. Otherwise, plan on January 14th. That's the only other meeting we will have. And that is to go over committee assignments, make sure you know your committee, you're all set on what is you're responsible for that night. Okay, and then we have our other two dates, January 22nd. Make sure for sure you meet those two dates of giving me the science fairs judges 1-to-3 ratio, and your students are registered with QSUF. Then on January 31st, if at all possible, have those dues, that check made out and sent to the John Hancock. And then February 5th is our fair. So, and then we just rinse and repeat for next year. So exciting. Amy went over these, but these are the dates for the QSUF fair, just so you can let parents know. You might not want to move anyone onto our fair if they're say, hey, we're not available for QSUF. You might want to reserve that spot for a student that if they win at our fair would be available for QSUF, something to think about, kind of keep that in your mind. Let me go down through that. Just a quick couple things. All schools have to have a committee member participate and must be there that night. You've got to attend that one meeting on January 14th at Freedom Prep. You just need to meet the deadlines, pay your dues. And then, Amy, is it still $50 a participant for the QSUF fair?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And my understanding is QSUF bills directly to the school for that. So she gets a list from us and then they bill directly to you guys. So we're not part of that. Don't have to worry about that. Last year, we sent the top 20% from each school onto our charter district fair. I will adjust that number based off of the numbers Amy gives me when she finishes her numbers with all the districts. But right now, plan on the top 20%. And then,
Thing there, Julie?
Yeah.
So last year we had a couple of charter schools who did not inform us that they were coming to the fair. Like,
oh,
they weren't on our registration because they were brand new schools. And so what happened is I had a couple of students who arrived at QSEF to participate, and their students were not registered because
Well-
under registration, their schools were not there.
yeah, I was gonna
I-
say that means they circumvented our fair. and
Yeah, they
not-
did. They
yeah.
did something weird. I've adjusted the JOT form now so that if your school is not listed, you can contact us directly and say, hey, my school's not listed. Then we can get you the information to actually help you find Julie and figure out everything for the charter school. So we adjusted that, but just be aware, you absolutely have to go through the right, order of things through Julie.
But the people here did it, right? I know
Yes.
they did. It's those, yeah, it's so I try, just so you guys all know, I send this to every charter school director in the state. Even if they're not in our CUSEP boundaries, I send it and I just am like, hey, we're starting. And I send it to all previous committee members. So I sent it to every director, every single charter school administrator in the entire state. So that's the only way I know to try to do that. So I'm sorry, guys. Sorry, Amy, I try. And then last but not least, just make sure you go through all the rules, display rules, what's allowed, what's not allowed, just make sure. And then this is a good link and it's on the CUSEF page also on just what is allowed and not allowed in the experiments. So pretty easy. Participating in our fair is not difficult. So I am going to share this document with everyone right now. Copy link. Wait, I gotta make sure you can all get it. Okay, I'm gonna share this right now. So you all have access to that. Amy, can you make it so I can share your document too?
Yes, just a minute.
Okay. And then I'll give everyone your document. Okay, well, we're waiting for Amy to do that. I've gone 3 minutes over. I apologize, but any questions real fast? Tracy, you and I might want to connect just because you've never done this before, but the other members on here are other committee members. I know you all know what you're doing. So let me copy this. Okay, those are the two Google Docs. I will send it out in a follow-up email for everyone, both of those links. Okay. I'm sorry I went over by 4 minutes, everyone. If you have any questions, you can hang out. Tracy, just hang out. But everyone else, thank you. I'm sorry I
Thank
went
you.
over.
Thank you,
I
Amy.
respect your
Thank you,
time.
Julie.
Thank you.
Can I ask just like for a piece of advice?
Of course.
I am struggling to get judges.
Yeah.
Like quality judges, right? Like I don't want a stay-at-home mom.
It's hard.
Last year I reached out to UVU and to BYU to some of the science professors. And I got a couple of students and like that was kind of successful, but any ideas?
So the science professors are not necessarily who you want to reach out to. You want the teachers who are in charge of the elementary and secondary education students. And
Okay.
so I have a list of those students because those students are required to go into events like this. And so I actually have the professor who's over the physics students, the engineering students, the biology students, and the geology students. So I can give you that contact information. And if you reach out to them and say, this is when we're hosting our fair, please send us some students, they will send you students who are in education majors. And that might be more helpful.
Okay, yes, that would be
That is huge. Thank you.
Yes. No, that would be super amazing. I didn't even think about switching the focus to education rather than science. So, yeah.
I love
So-
that.
Here, I'll put their information in that document that we shared in the Welcome to CUSEF. I'll put it in there so you'll have some contact to say, hey, email these professors.
Love that. Thank you. That is amazing.
Okay.
Hey, before Amy, you and I jump off real quick, can we open up, since they are holding fairs in October, can we open up our job form as early as mid-October?
Absolutely. You could open up today if you wanted to.
I
Well,
usually
that
have them
might
fill it
be-
out later anyways.
Okay, I was gonna ask you, Landon, do you want it beforehand? Because that might be helpful to you.
No, because what I do is I keep track of who won at mine, and then I approach them, say, okay, I have all the dates. I talk with them about the commitment, and if they say they can't make it, then I go down to the list.
Perfect.
So
So let's open it up by mid-October. Is that okay, Amy?
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Perfect. Let's do that. All right. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Yes, Tana, I'll give you a copy of the recording, so thank you. Okay, Tracy, you're still here, right? I'm gonna stop recording so you can ask questions. And Amy, do you mind hanging out in case she has some for you?
Fine.
Okay, stop.